For more than a decade, FTI has strived to become the leader in the aftermarket performance transmission and converter industry. We've joined forces with McLeod Driveline Components under the leadership of Top Fuel Funny Car pilot Paul Lee, and now have a larger distribution network, more resources, and more power. Come see us in the pits and ask how you can join the FTI family. It's not cheating, it is the competitive edge.
WFO! It's time for an inside look at the most powerful motorsport on the planet. WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro. This is WFO Radio.
WFO Radio is back. It is Christmas time in the WFO Radio studios. What's up, everybody? Joe Castello back with you as we get closer and closer to the big holiday season. The WFOs are winding down. We got our big holiday party this week, tomorrow, in fact, Wednesday. It's going to be great on this show. You're going to hear from the voice of the National Hot Rod Association, Alan Reinhart. Fans of Alan, I hope you're going to hear from him. We just did a sound check that didn't go so great. We're going to test it out, though. We'll figure it out one way or another. But you're also going to hear from the 2022 Camping World Series Rookie of the Year, Camrie Caruso, whose appearance on WFO Radio is so well timed as she joins the newly formed, merged KB Titan Racing. That's right, KB Racing and Titan Racing Engines have merged in a new super group called the Backstreet Boys. It's going to be great. We're going to talk about all of it on the show. Alan Reinhart will be joining us just seconds from now. So get your comments ready. And I did mention we do have our holiday party. And we want everybody to know that the holiday party is kind of like a WFO Radio office party. Kind of the people connected to the show and involved with the show and also work in and around with me at the NHRA. It's going to be great. I'm thinking 4:30 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. We're still dialing in the exact time. It's going to be a late afternoon spectacular. Early in the day, we're going to connect with the guys from Total Seal at 3 p.m. Eastern. You can watch that on the Total Seal YouTube channel. Hartford and Lake Speed, going to go over all the great things that happened over the course of the year. So if you want to get your holiday party on, get a hat. Get your holiday hat and get ready for a little holiday party action tomorrow, and that'll kick off the official start to the holiday season. Speaking of Total Seal Piston Rings, one of the big sponsors to help out WFO throughout the year, Hidden Horsepower, the house podcast for Total Seal. We got the Engine Performance Expo coming up, so subscribe to all of their stuff and be ready. Total Seal Piston Rings tomorrow. FTI Performance Transmissions and Torque Converters. You don't have to take it from me. All you have to do is watch some of the big money bracket racing that's streamed out, and you'll notice that a large portion of the people that go to the final rounds and win are FTI Performance Transmissions and Torque Converter cars, especially if you're in the state of Florida like they were last week for that Christmas bracket bash that I watched all weekend long. Pretty amazing. It was like a whole commercial for FTI Performance. Folks at Foggett, we're talking about Steve Williams. We're talking about Gary Stinnett, but we're really talking about preserving the inside of your engine after you race. I was thinking about, Foggett is relatively new. There have been fogging agents that have been sold out there, especially in the marine industry for many, many years, but not for these highly specific racing engines that were all in use out there at that bracket bash in Bradenton, Florida, which is right on the water. And I'm thinking about all those people who are putting their engines in their trailers after using them and closing the door and putting them away without fogging down their engine. Microscopic rust, corrosion happening instantly. You want to prevent that. You put together a multi-$1,000 racing engine and you don't spend a little extra to preserve it after each time you use it. You got to do it. Go to foggett.com to find out more. Phillips-Connect, Smart Trailer Technology. These guys supporting WFO in 2022. Really appreciate them for what they do for Justin Ashley. And if you have got a transportation company, you want to reach out to me, Joe, at WFOradio.com, because I can put you together with a little preferential treatment. Phillips-Connect.com, Joe at WFOradio.com, because we can get your trailers a lot smarter with their smart trailer technology. And then there's Bernie Speed Shop. I was so heartened to see some of our WFO Radio listeners going through the Bernie's inventory and picking their favorite and tweeting them out. It was so cool in the Twitter feed the other day to watch, whether it was Race Guitar with his 240 Datsun or me with my 63 Impala that I like. Amazing, all the cars they've got there from just a couple of $1,000, like 12 grand, I think was the least expensive one, to Corvette over $300,000. Amazing stuff. Go to Bernie's.com, find out what they got. And it is great stuff. Josh Hart, scheduled to appear at the holiday party, WFO holiday party. Samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, and my buddy Marvin Rodak for the coffeeandgrills.com that have got me so fired up here today, all supporting WFO Radio. We'll tell you more about them later, but let's go out to Tucson, Arizona, and hopefully connect with the voice of the NHRA, Alan Reinhart. I heard him before. He just couldn't hear me. Let's see what happens now. AR, do you read me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. Something weird going on with my Bluetooth stuff, so I don't know what it is.
It's a computer, man. Bluetooth. It's all a miracle that it happens at all. So Reinhardt's ugly Christmas sweater says...
What are you talking about?
That's what they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be ugly. That's the rule.
No, it's festive. I mean, what's more festive than a gingerbread man?
That's true. It says bite me. It says bite me. I know. I like it. I like it. That's good stuff, Alan.
It's a gingerbread man.
It's such a gingerbread man. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. I like it. I think I'm happy that you wore something holiday related. Got the big holiday event tomorrow, and then I'm going to shut down WFO, go best of for the rest of the year. It's going to be great. So this today and tomorrow are the last times we'll be speaking in 2022. And big news. We got Camrie Caruso going to be on the show in about 15 minutes. We're going to speak with Camrie, but the big news is it happened. KB Racing and Titan Racing Engines have now merged. Wasn't exactly a well-kept secret, but now it is official.
Yeah, who saw that coming, right? No, I think that, good for everybody involved. Anytime you can get more smart people working together, you're going to be in better shape. And, obviously they got some smart people over there at Titan shop, and they got some smart people in KB shop. So putting them together, I think, is going to benefit everybody except Elite Motorsports.
Well, exactly. And it's been very interesting to see some of the reaction. Like it's good for Greg Anderson. It's good for the future of KB Racing. It's good for Jim Whiteley and Eric Latino, who are now like major players and naturally aspirated. It's going to be good for, a lot of different angles and entities that are involved and close to them. Camrie Caruso going to KB Titan, which I think is going to end up as KBT. I don't know what you think about it, but kind of like Sirius XM. They kept both names. They retained both names. That's great and all. But now we have a two-pole, not that we didn't already, but it's two super teams in Pro Stock. It's KB Titan and it's Elite, and they're each going to have, 6 to 8 cars out there. And that's pretty amazing. There is the possibility of an entire field being both cars maybe when this shakes out.
Nah, don't tell Chris McGahey that, because they're still making some pretty serious horsepower down there in their shop in Texas. They're going to be players for a long time, even though 2022 certainly didn't give them the results they were looking for. But no, I think it's good for everybody. I think it'll be very interesting to see, because KB is pretty focused on what KB has been focused on. Titan, however, does a lot of different engines and a lot of different disciplines. So I think it'll be interesting to see if some of the technology from the merger ends up helping them out with, their sprint car, their midget, their circle track program, the other stuff that they do over there. But I also think, you can learn something from just about anybody that you meet. And you look at the fact that NHRA Pro Stock teams in particular got involved with people that were on the NASCAR side of the fence to elevate the program a little bit. NASCAR's R&D budget certainly was bigger than ours, going back 20 years or so ago. And so there was a lot of knowledge over there that could transfer over. And I think it was just an interesting exchange of information. So that's going to be taking place again with, some really, really smart guys that are now all going to be working together instead of trying to keep secrets from each other.
And I had a nice conversation with Eric at PRI, and everybody is waiting for this to happen. And, the I's to be dotted and the T's to be crossed so they can make some announcements. But apparently there were just a couple of things already that it's like, oh, you're doing it that way? Oh, hey, that's a pretty good idea. Oh, you guys are doing it this way? Oh, wow, that's interesting. And so that cross-pollination of concepts, of ideas, you got Stevie Johns, who worked with the Grump. You got Mike Smith, They were responsible for the power in Tanner Gray's machine when he went on to the championship. They had the field, I wouldn't say covered, but they were certainly as fast as anybody. That is going to be interesting when you take all that and you merge it with Greg Anderson, KB. They're moving down to Concord from Denver, North Carolina. We're talking. Going to be very interesting to see, and what kind of response Elite has. Do they even need to make a response? Because I think, maybe they made the first move with their big expansion earlier this year with Frank Iaconio. Recall that, those two kind of working together.
Yeah, I don't believe that that Elite needs to make a response. I think, right now, and they certainly showed last year that they had the car to beat, and, certainly the team to beat. You look at how many race trophies went back to Elite versus how many went anyplace else, and I don't believe that Elite needs a response, but I do think it'll be very good for KB and for Titan, and I think, that puts Camrie Caruso a step closer to her first win in the category, because she now, I do believe, as good as she was last year, is going to be even better.
It was very interesting. I know you're not on Facebook, probably a very good thing for you, but to see the post on NHRA's Facebook page about this and some of the confusion from people out there, like, what does this all mean? And some of the responses, and it was just very interesting. I suggest everybody go check it out, because the competition just got even more intense.
Yeah, exactly right. And, you can never have too many resources. You can never have too many smart people working together. Elite certainly was out in front last year. And the KB guys, not that I think they were going to take a lot of vacation time during the winter break. I think they're obviously thrashing away both in the shop and I'm sure over at Mooresville Dragway across the street from the shop. But this is just another plus. This is just one more thing they can add to the positive things that they're doing, trying to get back on top.
Yeah, Derek wants to know if you're going to be allowed in the Titan racing shop. Maybe there's new hope.
I've actually been in the Titan racing shop, but once they moved down to Concord, no, not a chance.
Oh, that's terrible. That's next season is going to be very interesting. Everybody is fired up, man. This is just another one of those big stories, and great for Greg Anderson. Obviously, with Ken Black retiring or slowing down or whatever you want to call it, his travel schedule, it's challenging for him to get to the races, but this cements Greg Anderson for the long term. This deal, this thing that he helped build with Ken, is now something that he is a part of. And I don't know the exact details, but I know that that Greg has got somewhere to be to finish his career, however he chooses to go, and maybe something in the future as well. And Greg is a racer, right? He's that old school pro stock guy that doesn't have a massive income from another company, right? Like so many others do. He makes his money through racing. And now KB Titan is the thing he can work on and grow for the rest of his however long he wants.
Yeah, and I don't know the details either, but I do believe that Greg is a whole lot more than just an employee of KB Titan. Even though I think technically he was an employee of KB Racing, but he was also the guy that steered the ship and ran the company and made sure that everything, got done the way it needed to be done. He wasn't a guy that came in and clocked in at 9 o'clock and clocked out at 5. So I think that this is just going to expand his role a little bit more. But I think, again, you've got some pretty smart businessmen with Eric Latino and Jim Whiteley, just like you had a really smart businessman with Ken Black, and guys that have the knowledge of how to best run a business, how to make a profit, when to spend, when to invest, when are going to be a plus. And there are just more of them coming together.
Absolutely. 72 Old says, isn't there a 4-car limit per team? And
in the Nitro ranks.
In the Nitro ranks. But I don't even think that that's triggered here, because isn't it, powered, like Matt Hartford is his own independent team, right, and Derek Kramer is his own independent team. So they don't count towards the total. You can supply power to as many customers as you can have, as long as you can keep up and service them well, as I understand it in Pro Stock.
Yeah, so just like anybody can buy engine components from Don Schumacher Racing, but that wouldn't necessarily make you a teammate. But the elite guys have been rolling a lot of cars out of those trailers for a lot of years, and nobody has an issue with it. So there's not going to be any problem here whatsoever. Yeah,
well, exactly. And what do you do? And oh, by the way, on paper with the Quadras, they could figure out how to put names on a list, and it's just an unnecessary loophole, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's nothing there.
Yeah, there is nothing there. All right, before Camry joins us here in a few minutes, let's talk some of the other news. FlexJet going to be the new Constant Aviation Factory Stock Showdown sponsor, so it won't be Constant Aviation anymore. It'll be the FlexJet Factory Stock Showdown, and this is great news for us now.
Yeah, as long as they'll give us some coupons, right? Like 3 free rentals. I mean, right? If Joe's car rental was going to be the nationwide sponsor, wouldn't it make sense to give the announcers a couple of free weekend rentals? So when you go to Hawaii, yeah, exactly. So we'll have some firsthand knowledge of this is the service they offer. So yeah, I think I'm all for it. I know, Dave Davies would have certainly given me the brother-in-law discount if I had taken my jet to him to get refurbished.
Sure.
Unfortunately, don't have a jet. But with FlexJet, I don't need one. I could just go get on it.
Well, and we tried to put together an interesting deal last year on the Western Swing where we, Jason Logan, myself, you, got into a Camping World provided RV and drove. And like in the end, it didn't quite work out real well. This, I think, could be better. This could be better where
yes.
Joe and Jason go get on a FlexJet, showcase the product, have a good time, some social media posts, learn all about it, and the whole thing takes like 45 minutes.
Yeah, I'm good. I will drop my first coupon when we go to Epping, and I'll be happy to blog about it. I'll make a National Dragster column about it. I'll tweet constantly, whatever you want.
Yes, exactly. Tweet constantly, whatever you want, says Alan. No, listen. Everybody knows we're all about the sponsors first. That's really what it is. It's all about the sponsors and their benefit first. But no, good for the showdown, right? To keep another sponsor there. It's in the same arena as in, jets and similar to Constant Aviation. Mr. Davies, I don't know if he's involved with FlexJet or knows them or what, but it seems like that might be the case given the proximity.
Well, without knowing any of the details, I've got to believe that Dave Davies was very heavily involved in this. I mean, I think the simple matter is Constant Aviation's an amazing company, but look at who they're marketing to. Look at their customer base, okay? How many people out there have jets that are going to take them in, they're going to need service, versus how many people occasionally will charter a jet? And that is a lot bigger pool, especially if you look at, and it's pretty amazing. I mean, I've looked into it a time or two with, okay, look, there's 6 of us that are all doing this, and we're all going to be flying, and we're going to be spending a pile of money doing this. Could we do something else? Could we go charter? Could we? And I just think that you've opened up your potential customer base tremendously, because I think there are a lot more people with the potential of chartering a jet than there are who are going to necessarily, need one serviced or refurbished or remodeled.
Absolutely. And, Reinhart, he don't let him fool you, folks. He's chartering jets all the time on a regular basis. That's, how he gets back and forth from place to place.
I will admit that I've ridden on a couple of them. I will tell you that when I rode with Alan Johnson one time, it's a really, really, really long story. And he said, meet me at the hangar at 6 a.m. I said, okay. He said, the last one there pays for the fuel. I was there at 4 a.m.
Yeah, exactly.
Because as much as I know, American Airlines ain't going to hang around and wait for me if I'm 30 minutes late. Alan Johnson ain't going to hang around and wait for me if I'm late either. So, that's when you are the guy with the jet, that's how you make sure everybody shows up on time.
I had my first fly private experience this year, thanks to Jason Johnson and Bo Butner from Bristol over to Nashville area, and it was...
that's not exactly, like a wow.
No, it was up and down, but it was pretty great. It was pretty great. I felt like, this is my style. This is what I deserve. Definitely. Good stuff. Let's see other news before Camry joins us.
By the way, Joe, when you do start flying across the country, Salina, Kansas has the cheapest jet fuel in the country. That's why everybody stops there. They also have fresh popcorn 24 hours a day. So you stop in while they're fueling your jet, you grab a bag of popcorn, and you're ready to go.
For free. Exactly. I like it. Popcorn. I love it. I love it. Caps broke on the show a couple of weeks ago that Tom Buckingham was going to be his new assistant crew chief as John Medlin goes into retirement. That is now up on NHRA.com. Normal maneuvering, promoting from within. I think that's always good.
Certainly. I mean, you've got a guy that obviously has got a lot of experience, smart guy that has been around and been learning and have been absorbing for a long time. Knows your team, knows the players. You don't have to build any new chemistry. You don't have to. You just take the next smart guy on your team and you move him up. And I think that's very smart strategy on their part. I do love that they said, Ron Capps announces, and he very quickly said, no, Guido announces. Yeah. That's his realm. He makes those decisions. He said, I'm 100% on board with it, but I'm not the guy who does that. That's Guido.
That's great stuff. All right. We've got our 2022 NHRA Camping World Series Rookie of the Year getting ready to join us. So all fans of Camry, it's time to retweet the show, share the show. Here she comes, the new KB Titan racing driver, Camrie Caruso. What's up, Camry?
How are you guys?
How come I'm the only one that went festive? It's the last show before Christmas, and I'm the only one that went festive.
There you go.
That's not Christmas, Joe.
Doesn't matter. It's America. It's always a time for America.
True.
Right?
Good point.
Camry, congratulations on Rookie of the Year.
Thank you.
Huge news now. This is big stuff. So talk us through what has happened and what will happen as you go to KB Titan.
So KB and Titan have merged, as everybody already knows now. And we are going to go over there and be the fourth house car. So Greg, Kyle, Dallas, me, and then the rental customers are still the same as far as I know. So it'll be exciting to bring all the guys from Titan and from KB together and see what they can accomplish because they're all really smart.
Yeah, well, exactly. And this has been kind of coming together slowly. You have been working with Titan as your power provider, and you had great success in your Rookie of the Year campaign. #1 qualifier, making final round, some big hole shot wins, some big performances. When you look back at 2022 and your rookie season, what stands out in your mind, and how do you think you were able to secure the Rookie of the Year? What locked it down for you?
I really don't know when they even start brainstorming about that. So I'm not sure when it would have been locked down, but I think that we just showed that we're not just there to be a filler. We're there to compete and we're there for every race, and we qualified, and it was a really big team effort. I couldn't have done it without my guys, and I think it was a good year, and we're excited for next year.
Alan, question for Camry.
Well, I mean, as far as the Rookie of the Year thing goes, starting with the top speed out in Pomona and then, your performance in Houston, I think at that point it was yours to lose and there was nobody else in the field that really stepped up, but you were certainly the dominant of the rookie field. What I'm curious about is going into this new arrangement, does your entire team come with you? Are you going to have the same crew chief, same clutch guy, is everybody coming over, or will you go into KB with a new team coming out of there?
So I have some of the same and some new. I have Mike still, which he was my engine guy from last year, and he'll continue to be my engine guy over at KB. And then I have my full-time clutch guy, which is John. I'll still have him, but the rest of the team is going to be new. So it will be an adjustment, but I think that everybody works really hard over there, so it'll be good.
And you spent a lot of time with Jim and Jamie Yates, obviously, this season. And so that's got to be, I don't know, bittersweet because they put you through the ringer. We watched you test, and he really, you've given him a lot of credit to getting to where you are. But now, and it makes sense that you're going over to KB. So those guys are I would imagine, available, and their phones are probably ringing right now. Talk a little bit about that relationship and, just looking back at what it was to get you to this point.
Well, going to KB, the KB Titan now, which is going to take a little bit getting used to calling it that, but Dave and Rob will be my crew chiefs now, but Jamie and Jim and Miss Tony, they were a huge part of this year, and it wouldn't have been possible without them. So obviously I'm going to miss them, and I appreciate everything they've done for me. I actually was texting with Miss Tony this morning, and we were going back and forth and stuff, just talking. So I'm confident that we'll still be able to have a really good working relationship and stuff. But they aren't making the move with us. But I'm going to miss them because we spent so much time together, and they helped us so much to learn and gain experience that we wouldn't have had without them.
Have you had a chance yet to have a meeting or a chat or something with the other drivers that you're going to be working with now, with Greg, with Dallas, with Kid Chaos, or even Derek Kramer and Matt Hartford certainly spent time in that trailer. Have you had a chance to get together with those guys and at least get acquainted a little?
I've been really good friends with Sadie and Dallas. Obviously Sadie is Dallas's wife. But I've been really good friends with them all year. I've talked to Greg quite a bit. I've known Kyle for years, but I was actually just texting with Derek Kramer's girlfriend this morning. So I think it'll be really cool to get to work with everybody. And since I really already know a lot of them, I don't think it's going to be a hard adjustment.
Are you taking? I'm sorry, Joe. Are you taking your car, or do you get a new ride next year?
Nope, I have my car coming with me, but I also have a new car on the way. So they will follow me over there.
It's got to be exciting, given that, to track your career a couple of years ago, racing the PRA. Your dad, I know he's out there watching right now, I'm sure. Papa Joe, of course. You guys took this flyer on Pro Stock. Like, you made this big move. Pro Stock, from what you had told me in the past, wasn't like your sole goal, your whole racing career. You just love racing. You love being around family. This was an opportunity you took. And now with this move, it appears that you are solidified in Pro Stock, joining KB Titan, which I'm calling KBT for the short term because I feel like it works pretty easy. KBT, just talk a little bit about that. Like, this is the road now. This is the way. Pro Stock.
Yep. So when these options came up and everything, we kind of sat down as a family and just decided, hey, what's best for the future? What can make us the most successful? What can help us? And we wanted to stay in Pro Stock was the decision that we made. And so it kind of made the decision of going with KB and Titan a little bit easier because KB's had so much success over the years, and being able to learn from the drivers they already have is super exciting to me, and I can't wait to be in Pro Stock for many years to come.
Alan?
Are you doing anything during the winter break, staying sharp? Are you doing any bracket racing? Do you have a super comp car or anything like some of the other guys will go out and, at least get their hits at the tree and take their swings now and then?
Well, you see, I would like a bracket car, but we have not. Me and my dad have been looking at them, but we have not found one that we absolutely just love yet. So I have my simulator and that I work on and I practice on. It's basically half a race car. It has a clutch, a shifter, all of it. You basically go through the entire run in it, and I've been practicing in that. But I do want to get a bracket car, but I haven't found one that I love yet.
Tell Dallas he'll find you one.
Yeah, Dallas and Sadie, they can definitely, they've gone all in on a few things. Talk about Eric Latino. I know he has been in and around your team quietly, not so quietly. A couple of years ago, bought the assets of Gray, and he and Jim Whiteley involved in this deal. They're big personalities. They're very successful guys. They love drag racing so much. And now, Eric is kind of, coming out here at the highest levels of naturally aspirated racing with this move.
Eric has been involved since the start of this whole Pro Stock deal, and he is not a very quiet person, as everybody knows. But he has been awesome to deal with and everything, and he's done a lot for us. And I don't know if he's going to drive or not, because everybody's asked me 17 times, is Eric driving? I'm like, I don't know. But I think that it's cool to have him involved, and I know that he loves racing just as much as anybody. So it's been cool to have him around.
Alan?
Do you have a testing schedule yet? Do you know when the first time you guys are going to get together as a team and go to the racetrack?
We're working on getting everything to KB right now and kind of inventorying and trying to get trailers sorted out on who's going to be in what trailer with who and where things are going to go. And then I think by probably mid to end January is probably when we'll start to test. I'm not 100% positive on that. That's not really, I just kind of get a text, hey, do you want to go testing in a week? I'm still really no on the front, but I know that we'll be testing soon.
If you find an apartment next to Mooresville Dragway, you might want to just put down a deposit if you're going to spend some time there. Those guys all do.
Well, I just bought a house, so I'm not really going to buy anything else right now.
There you go. We got some questions in the chat section for you, Camry. Lauren out there, one of our loyal listeners. If you could pick any current NHRA Pro Stock racer to go up against for your first ever Pro Stock win, who would it be and why? Asks Lauren Murphy.
I don't know. That's a tough one. There's so many good racers in the class, but I think it would be either Greg or Dallas or Erica or anybody really. Like, they're all so good. And hi, Jamie. They're all really good racers, and they all make you want to be better every time you go out.
I love how Camry knows how to talk to the audience in the chat section. That's from your experience in doing your own show, right? Like you got to read the comments.
Oh, hey, Dad.
Yeah, Dad's out there. Dad's out. You think Dad is not going to be out there? Come on, no. Of course he is.
Well, it's the schedule for today because Elon, you guys know Elon. He's pretty on top of everything. So yes, I mean, if somebody wants to let me drive a pro mod, I will.
Yeah, still wants to get in a pro mod, she will. That's exactly.
I think the elite guys have a turbo one that's opened up now, so I'm not sure that partnership will be able to work out. But
I don't really like turbos; they're kind of weird.
Well, that's interesting. You're a naturally aspirated gal now. Eric says, has truly enjoyed watching Camry race. Reminds me of one of my daughters, the way she conducts herself on and off the racetrack.
Thank you.
Yeah. Scott says, single car team for 2023 Camry. No, man, she's joining KB Titan. KBT.
I think, and I could be wrong, maybe there's like a total of 6 or 7 KB cars for next year.
Wow. Now, your dad has suggested that he might go racing again at some point. What's up with that? Is that over?
I tell him all the time. Every test session we went to this past year, I was like, are you going to drive? You want me to bring your racing suit? I'll bring your racing suit. It's right here. But he, I think once we get, that's our friend from home. Bracket car, I think that he will kind of switch in and out. So I keep sending him dragsters. So we'll see.
All right. Mark is in it. Jimmy wants to know whether you like, if you are a football fan, and which team do you like?
I don't really watch football, so I'm not really a good choice on that at all. I don't know what anything to do with football is. Good.
Hey, racer.
When you spend all your Sundays at the racetrack, it takes a little bit away, even though this time of year you have more time. But, you get it's hard to join the season 12 weeks in and then try to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, that kind of makes it a little slightly difficult.
So. Excellent. Mike says are weird. That's great. Turbos are weird.
You have any plans for Christmas? You got some big family thing to do, or are you going to run away, or what's the plan?
Actually, getting ready to drive home to New York, which Dad talked me into. Hi, Joey. Yes, we are neighbors now.
Joey Gladstone out there watching WFO celebrity sighting. Way to go, Camry.
But Dad somehow convinced me to drive home. Which
I thought you were smarter than that.
Yeah, I thought
so. Is he going to be with you driving together? Driving together?
Driving with me.
Okay. Little bonding time, a little holiday road over the road like the Griswolds.
Yeah.
Not like the Griswolds.
I don't really know how long it'll actually take us, but we're going to stop at Hershey Park on the way. Might as well.
Yes.
That place is awesome. I've been there.
We'll probably leaving in like an hour-ish. Have to run a few errands, so I don't think we'll get there tonight. We'll probably get to the hotel tonight, but we'll explore in the morning and then make our way to New York before the big storm hits.
Yeah, that's coming. There is a big storm. It's coming across the country. Everybody saying what's up, checking in. David saying what's up. Everybody checking in, which is great. When you look back at 2022, Camry, just give me a couple of highlights that stick out in your mind. This was your rookie year. I am excited. I walked into the Arizona test, walked through the gate, walked to the starting line, and you're doing a burnout. And it's like, oh, this is kind of this is history for Camrie Caruso right here. She's going through the test process, and the ground you covered to get a number one qualifier, to make your first final round, the ground you covered over the course of the year, pretty amazing. Now you got to do it again, of course. But when you look back, what sticks out in your mind as your highlights personally? It doesn't even have to be on track.
My highlights, there's probably like 3 or 4 of them. Qualifying number 1 was one of them, just because of the whole way it went down. Like, I was under the tower for Q1, and I got on the radio, and I was like, okay, so let's take the training wheels off and just go number 1, guys. Like, let's just get it over with. And we actually did, after Jim told me, like, that's not happening. You're not going number 1. But we did, and we held it off for the whole qualifying. So that was definitely a highlight. And then going to the final was another one. And then just really learning so much in such a short time with good people around us was awesome. Like, to have the team we had in such a short time, I just am extremely thankful for the opportunities to work with all of them.
Excellent. Something you might not be thankful for. Your dad out there watching, giving information in the chat section. Is this true?
Ew, Dad. Why do you have to go? Oh. You gotta leave it to him. He keeps things interesting. That's for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
And stops being weird, and he continues to look for a dragster for us to share.
Yes. Mark, get back on the clock. Okay. Stop with the nonsense. And maybe it is true. Who knows? But it doesn't much matter, right? Like,
I'm curious, Camry, when the Pro Stock schedule came out this year, is there anything in particular that you circled, like, I'm really looking forward to going back to there, or maybe I'm really looking forward to visiting that place for the first time?
I've never been to Chicago or raced at Chicago. I definitely am excited to go and race there. I miss Houston just because, obviously, it was a good race for us.
Certainly.
And Epping's always a really good time, but I'm excited to, I think there was one more on there that was new. Brainerd. I've never been to Brainerd either, which might have to keep Mark John on a leash for that one, but.
Nah, turn him loose.
Yeah, turn him loose.
What could possibly go wrong?
Right.
A lot.
Right. All right, Camry, we're going to let you go. We're being so abusive. Your dad. It's your dad, though. Like, of course, I can't not put the comment that your dad writes up on the
kind of brings it on himself. I mean, the abuse thing, he kind of brings it on himself.
He really does. He really does. Well, Camry, congratulations on a great year. You really got out there. You fit in. You mixed it up. You gave us things to talk about. Interesting stuff. And that was just your rookie of the year, winning rookie of the year. A big deal. This next year, joining KB Titan. Going to be very fun to watch you go through that process, and I wish you the best of luck. Merry Christmas and happy holidays, and of course, thanks for coming on WFO a couple of times this year. I really appreciate it, and I'm just super excited to see you on the other side and get 2023 started.
Well, thank you guys for having me. Have a good holiday, and we'll see you soon.
There you go.
Take care.
Here goes Camrie Caruso, the 2022 NHRA Rookie of the Year. Camrie Caruso with us there. Now, for those that are listening audio only, I got to tell Mark, Mark John, as in Camrie's dad, says that Camrie was conceived at Hershey Park. And that's, that's what his story, and he's sticking to it.
Got nothing.
Yeah, well, I had to put it up there. I can't
staying completely away from there.
That's probably a smart play right there. Jason out there saying congratulations. Jason Logan out there. He's going to be on our big holiday event tomorrow afternoon. So hopefully everybody joins. Courtney Enders and Jason Logan. And I've got confirmations from Josh Hard and Justin Ashley and Amanda and a couple others. Alan Reinhart said he would pop in for a bit. So it should be a very interesting holiday event late afternoon tomorrow, probably starting around 4:30. Chris wants to know what's going on with the CUDA. Forget all this other stuff. What's up with the CUDA?
Not much yet. I've got the brakes working on the thing, and I've got it to the point where it'll move, but I really haven't done anything else with it. I'm waiting on a water pump housing. The magnesium one did not survive the 22 years of sitting around full of antifreeze, And I reached out to a couple of my Mopar buddies who said, yeah, I know I got one of those someplace, but I don't have one yet. So not a whole lot you can do without a water pump.
We got a parts call out there in the WFO universe. Reinhart needs something out there. Justin wants to know, you mentioned it earlier, but why does Nitro have a 4-car per team rule?
They did that a number of years ago just to stop somebody from ending up with 8 or 9 cars. The way that Force was expanding at the time and the way that Schumacher was expanding at the time, and Coletta was certainly looking at it. And they just didn't want to get into a position where one owner controlled that much of the field. And I think that's a wise thing to do. The reason that it's different in Pro Stock is because, as you pointed out earlier, so many of those cars are really independent cars that are just getting power. Okay, like just because Paul Lee was never a Don Schumacher racing car, but he kept the trailer at Don's place, he bought parts from Don's place, he got support from Don's place, but it wasn't a Don Schumacher entity. And that's kind of what's going on in Pro Stock right now, is that just because, and you mentioned Derek and our buddy Matt, just because they get their horsepower from now KB Titan, that doesn't make them KB Titan cars. So, and if you wanted to look down and strictly go, okay, well, look what Elite does. Yeah, but the Quadras are a separate entity. Do they work together? Yes. Do they get technical support? Yes. But technically, they own their cars. And so, if you came down to it, it would be really easy for somebody to say, okay, well, there's Elite A and Elite B, or well, this is Erica Ender's Motorsports. This isn't Elite, and there's just no reason to fight over it in the Pro Stock world when the competition level in Pro Stock right now is better than it's ever been because horsepower is available, and that was never the case before.
Yeah, Pro Stock is better than it's ever been. Again, everyone go to the Facebook page, NHRA's Facebook page, and just check out some of the comments. It's really interesting to me, and I love drag racing. And you can go out there and read everything. But when you're, in and around the sport on a weekly basis, as Alan, of course, has been for many years, and I'm fortunate to be around now, it's amazing to look at people who are on the outside and just don't have the opportunity, and some of the perspectives that they have about Pro Stock, which I find to be very inaccurate, right? Like, wow, that's not how it is at all. Whether it be NHRA, like favorite, giving favoritism to Chevy and all these different weird things that people think though, and are at the top of their mind when they think Pro Stock. And I think we got to keep working on, working hard to change that perspective, because I don't think it's ever been better. Look at the Quadras. They are going to win a race in 2023, a couple of them. And there are countless others that are ready to break through for big wins. Michael Heiner and the Kramer car, they were very quick and fast at the end of last year. Like, people are all peaking at the same time in Pro Stock chasing Erica.
Well, Erica certainly was the class of the field all year long. It looked like they were closing the gap a little bit towards the end. I'm looking forward to seeing the new Ford engine come out and make its debut in Pro Stock, and that's certainly going to happen next year. As far as, still fighting the fight, right? The lone Dodge out there. And I sure would like to see him have a little bit more success. They've really struggled with that combination and getting up to speed. But when you don't have as big a budget as some of the other players do, and you don't have a lot of people doing R&D, right? I mean, if you've got 3 or 4 different entities that are all working on the DRC E3 stuff, and Alan Brzezinski's the only guy out there that's working on the Hemi, he's certainly just not going to make progress as fast as some of the other teams do, and it just makes it that much more difficult.
Yeah, and Warren Johnson told me in a walk through the pits at Atlanta a couple of years ago, like, architecture wise, the Dodge engine is really good. You just need enough people working on it to unlock its potential. And, Alan's the only one out there, but I admire him. And also at the end of last year, he had found some things as well. So it's going to be very exciting. Final thoughts, Alan, anything else you wanted to throw out there on the table before we part ways on this session?
Nope, just looking forward to Christmas and my annual tradition. If there's anybody that's in Southern Arizona and you want to stop by Christmas Day at Wild West Engineering, come on by.
Exactly. Justin says, wait, a Ford engine, an actual Ford engine? What's the story there?
We talked about that earlier in the year. It's the Ford combination that Neff was running in the Comp Eliminator car when he brought out the A Econo dragster, went 214 miles an hour, and everybody went, that can't be right. but it was. It is a new generation Ford cylinder head on a tried and true Ford cylinder block that Jim Cunningham, is my understanding, was the financial driving force behind the engineering, but they are genuine parts that were put together by Ford. They have Ford casting numbers, they have Ford, and they do exist. When Jim Cunningham passed away, there was nobody else that was really out there, waving the flag and pushing the Ford forward. But the parts are out there. The Neffs are working with them. They're making a lot of power with them. And I can tell you that they're pretty darn nice. When I went and talked to Clint in, I believe it was St. Louis, went and chatted with him in the pits. And I said, man, I'd like to take a look at one of those heads. And he said, well, give me your address. And he just sent me one. So it is a very, very nice part. I think there's a lot of potential there. And there will be a Ford Pro Stock engine under the hood of a car at some point in 23.
I hope it's a Camaro. That would be great. It would be weird. That would just mess everybody up, right? Like the Ford-powered Chevy Camaro just turns it upside down. Alan, great job as usual. Hopefully you can jump on tomorrow for our holiday event I'll send you the link, of course, and at your convenience. It's going to be late afternoon, so everyone's going to be ready to go, hopefully done with all important stuff. And just, one more time, get together, talk about the year that was.
I will make it a point to jump in, at least for a short period of time. Looking forward to it. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. Thank you, Alan. Appreciate you. See you. Yeah. Bite me, baby, says the gingerbread man. I can't even read that one. What's that say on your hat?
Humbug.
Humbug. He's like confusing. He's festive and yet still very Alan. Later, Alan. There he goes. The NHRA Alan Reinhart joins us each week right here on WFO Radio. I see a lot of personal Joe-related questions in the chat section, guys. I am going to answer your questions. I will answer all your questions. That's what I do at the holidays. It's like got to be honest for the holidays. So I'll answer your questions. I do want to tick through the people who make it possible for me to go WFO like I do on a regular basis. We got our Ignition show in the archive. So much fun with our Ignition Patreons. Talking about Marvin Rodak, rodakscoffeeandgrills.com, the hot sauces, the spice rubs, everything so great. Marvin Rodak, roasting coffee, fresh per your order. And you got to get in on this. Like, this is as WFO as it gets. First of all, this guy's been supporting the show for over 10 years. Give him a little love, for gosh sakes. 817-924-6821. Similar situation with Frank Hawley's drag racing school. They had a great year. Look at Camrie, graduate, Brittany, graduate, gone on to great and amazing things. I think that the Dragster Adventure is something that any one of my listeners can do. And it makes a great gift. And let's face it, it's crunch time now. What are you going to do? You're going to have to come up with something amazing. Go to frankhawley.com, call him up, tell him you heard about it on WFO, and you'd like to get a certificate to present one of your friends or family member that means a lot to you. And then they can work out like when they go and where they go. And of course, they'll love it. It'll be the gift of a lifetime. frankhawley.com. Then there's samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. This, is it a gift? No, I think someone needs to make this decision for themselves, right? Do they want to have a career that is going to be useful and long lasting right here in the United States of America? A machinist working on engine blocks and cylinder heads, programming a CNC machine. Of course, Samtech is approved to train veterans under the GI Bill. Go to samtech.edu and call Brian Massengill. Say, Massengill, Castello told me to call you directly. I want to go to the school, get educated, or maybe you're learning more information for your kids out there. Of course, there's Bernie's Speed Shop, bernies.com. Check out their inventory. And Race Guitar, one of our listeners, suggested that everybody tweet their favorite in the inventory of Bernie's. And that became a fun little game that our WFO Radio Twitter followers have participated in. You should do it too. Like, what is your favorite? Tweet it. And tweet it at WFO Radio. Kind of cool stuff. Phillips Connect. Phillips-Connect.com. We're talking smart trailer technology. We learned so much about this in 2022. If you are in the transportation industry, if you have got a fleet of trailers, you can email me, Joe, at WFOradio.com, and I can put you together with the folks at Phillips-Connect and get your trailers, educate them, get them a little smarter. Folks at Foggit, Foggit.com. Every racer with a race car with a high-performance racing engine should have a can of Foggit in their trailer. When you shut it off for the night, you fog it down. And what does it do is it protects the inside of your valve seats, valves, cylinder walls, countless other things. Not only does it work great with high-performance racing engines, but it works on firearms. It works on anything where there is corrosion. Go to foggit.com to learn more information. It's not as oily as some of the marine industry stuff. This is specifically built for high-performance racing engines, and it works on countless other things as well. Go to foggit.com to find out more. FTI Performance Transmissions and Torque Converters. Spent a lot of time watching the big money bracket race down there in Bradenton, Florida. I'm going to comment on Bradenton here in a few moments. Red alert, Bradenton, red alert. But it was an FTI showcase. Countless winners running FTI converters and performance transmissions. And if you are updating your transmission in this offseason, go to FTIperformance.com. Reach out to them. Reach out to Greg. Tell him you heard about it on WFO Radio. And you'll be good to go in 2022. Total Seal Piston Rings. We are doing the Total Seal holiday party tomorrow, right before the WFO holiday party. On the Ignition Show said, I'm not going to do that. And that's exactly what we're doing. 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Pacific. Total Seals Facebook page, Total Seals YouTube channel. And it'll be show very similar to this. And we'll have our holiday atmosphere going on. It's going to be great. Matt Hartford, Lake Speed, talking about all the details of everything that went down at Total Seal in 2022 and what to look ahead to, like the Engine Performance Expo, which will be going on January 13th and 14th. And you can go to Engine Performance Expo's YouTube channel and subscribe, and you'll never miss a show. Who's going to be there? There's a lot of rumors who's going to be there, and I don't want to say exactly who, but celebrity engine builders that you've come to know and love on the Hidden Horsepower podcast. Those are the people who make it possible for me to go WFO. Let's get some comments in the comment section and see what everybody has to say, right? Let's see what everyone has to say. Like Billy Carroll from South Florida many years ago. Joe, going to need the sweater this weekend. Florida, it's going to be in the 40s. Yeah, falling iguana alert. That's what everybody is excited about, that the iguanas are going to fall from the trees. And, the chicken of the trees will be available for free for everybody. Yes, people do eat them. It's crazy. It's crazy. Fast Eddie said, good to see Ford getting back in there. Larry Morgan was the last one to use Ford Power, I think. I don't know. Al. Thanks, Alan, for the Pro Stock gear ratio email response. Just to follow up to that email, if you put in the Gainesville, say, okay, we got to take that up with Alan. Al. Take it up with Alan. Jim Parks. What's up, Parks? That was the most politically correct way to call out the majority of incorrect comments on social media. Nice work. Thank you, Jim. The only reason I get to know what I know is by my proximity to what's happening. That's it. But it's a challenge. There's so many people that they would call themselves an NHRA fan or a Pro Stock fan, and they'll type something into the social media that's just incorrect. It's just like not correct. And I am not the type of person to go on there and correct every person that is incorrect. I will not do that and just open myself up to, well, no, you're wrong. And that's not what's going to happen with me. I just take note. And then I tell everybody on the podcast. Pretty much it. Justin, thanks for the great explanation about the 4 cars. Mike, Joe, do you feel better now that Aaron Judge re-signed with the Yankees? The answer is yes, I do feel much better. And we added to the pitching staff as well. Just getting Aaron Judge on board was not enough because we had that team this year and they were not good enough to win. Now, don't get me wrong. The Astros have been weakened with Verlander going across the street to the Mets, but the Yankees got to get better. They are not good enough. Aaron Judge, that was really a bad deal. If you want to talk baseball, right? Like they should have just gave him the right money at the start of the season. And some people are saying they could have saved themselves like $70 million or more. They tried to cheap out at the start of the season. This guy bet on himself and he broke the single season home run record, observed 61, now 62. And so good for Aaron Judge, good for the Yankees. Too bad that they didn't have the foresight to see that was going to happen and sign him up for what would have been less at the start of the season. There you go. Let's see. Jim Park says Mooresville won't be the same with Corey and Joey in town. Yeah. Well, I wonder what the relationship is. Like I always knew KB and Vance and Hines had a good relationship because they would go on those trips together, et cetera, and so on. But I don't know if that extends to trading speed secrets. But now with KB Titan, does everybody like KBT? Can we go with that as the short form version of this? I don't get anybody upset if they're looking for a better nickname, but that feels like It could work. Maybe this relationship benefits Corey and Joey directly somehow. I think it would, right? Tom liked Alan Sweater. Jimmy Ryan wants to know if I like football. Yes, I do. I'm a Miami Dolphin fan. And after 3 decades of sadness and despair, we're now feeling a little bit better about where we are. Played the Bills very tough on the road in snow and, lost. But there's different ways you lose, and not all losses are the same, right? And this was it's not a good loss. They could have won the game, but I don't think anybody expected them to be in the game. And they played well. And that's what you do. You try to get better, and you try to improve, and you try to grow. So when your opportunity comes, you can take it. And I didn't really think that a first-year head coach coming in to take over this team, they were going to the Super Bowl in 2022 anyway. So that is a great learning experience that they're going to use for next time. Terry gave me my Liberty Gears stuff. Thank you very much for that, Terry. Are we going to see you next week at Showtime Drag Strip? No. I told Flying Ryan at PRI, we shared a great beverage. We shared some of that Bandito tequila in one of the crosswalks. It was great. I've got that video. Social media may share with that, maybe not. But I'm not going to be able to make it to Showtime between Christmas and New Year's this year. So, Terry, you go have fun. Everybody have fun. Of course, it's going to be because I'm afraid to be beaten again by Flying Ryan. But really, it has everything to do with my own bracket program and my own race car. I'm going to use as much time between tomorrow and New Year's to do as much as is possible on my own racing engine, so that I can actually maybe compete in Bradenton next year at that Christmas bracket bash. That would be cool. All right. Any other comments? I'm going to talk Bradenton. Oh, Jason Logan's got to weigh in. How do you feel about the possibility of Lionel Messi coming to Miami? Jason Logan, I enjoyed the World Cup so much. It would have been better if the United States, but that final game was incredible. I know that you are out there on the social, and you can talk about this tomorrow, battling it out with people who just can't get past the fact that it's soccer. They just can't get past the fact that it's soccer. Oh, it's boring because it's soccer. That thing yesterday or 2 days ago was amazing. The athleticism. If Messi comes to Miami as part owner of our MLS team with Beckham, he's going to be the biggest star in Miami right away. It's going to be pretty amazing. And I think, it'll finally put the city of Miami on the map internationally. Finally, we'll put the city of Miami on the map. That'll be pretty great to finally get the international accolades that the city of the MIA deserves. Let's see. It's just crazy money, Joe. Don't think any athlete is worth that much, just my opinion. But Mike, see, here's the thing. Okay, we're talking sports right now. It's not about any one person. It's about the pie. Like, they have grown the pie so big that if you restrict the slice that any athlete is worth, then the pie, well, who gets the rest of that? Where does that go? Right? And some might say, well, lower the ticket prices for the fans, lower it. Make it so our cable bills are cheaper and we don't have to pay. Yeah, that's not really how it works. It's not how it works. Aaron Judge just went on the open market and got offers, and then the Yankees matched the offer and beat the offer, and they retained their player. It's tough stuff. That's the business of sports. It's the business. What do you do? Like, how do you restrict it? Salary cap? Yeah, a lot of people would think salary cap in baseball is a good idea, right? But the players, they got a union. The union says no, they're not going to do it, and they've got the power to make it not happen. Are you ready to endure years of a strike? The AAA players coming up for years and years? No, nobody wants to see that. Pay the man. That's it. The guy did something nobody did. Pay the man. What was Babe Ruth worth? What was Roger Maris worth? You do something that no one else can do. You got to get paid. You got to get paid. We've been sitting around for how many years waiting for someone to get more home runs than 61 without being artificially adjusted, right? And Judge does it. He did it. You got to pay the man. Guys got to get paid. Guys got to get paid. He's not even the richest guy in baseball. He doesn't have the biggest contract. That's just my take. But yes, the numbers are astronomical. $300 million. Like, that's pretty amazing. Jeff Shockey. KBT, yes. Right? Like, where else would it be? What else would it go with? Are we going to really say KB Titan? There's very few examples of people not shortening names to initials or something, some sort of nickname. So KBT, that's my first attempt. Jimmy Ryan. Jimmy, do you like America, Joe? Do you like America? Do you like football? Do you like ice cream? What kind of a question is this for the holidays, Jimmy? You're like our 19-year-old new listener. 19. What do you think? Who answers no to that question? I'll tell you who. Communists. Let's see. Who else? Montana. 38 below, no wind. Gary, what are you doing, man? Joe, when you said Amanda, do you mean Amanda Busick? Do I mean Amanda Busick? I did send a text to see if Amanda would love to be involved with our holiday event tomorrow, and she said yes, and I hope she can join us. You may recall last year's event is still in the archive there, and had the whole Christmas tree going. It was pretty amazing. So yeah, that is the intention, but you never know. People get busy. Who knows? Who knows? All right. Bradenton Motorsports Park and the Freedom Factory. Guys, red alert here. This is terrible. I spent this past weekend watching the SFG Bracket Bash for Christmas on YouTube. Motor Mania put it up there, and those guys, Mark, and they do a great job with the live stream. And Smart TV brought it up on YouTube and really enjoyed it. Why didn't I enjoy it? Well, because it was a great race, and people from my local community were there, like good friend Dave Hoxie, who I went to high school with and battled for the 1991 high school track championship, and he was defeated. It was great. Great racer, Dave Hoxie. But Gary Williams, Donovan, Troy, like people I know, people are friends, FTI friends, but also Dave Connolly, Kenny Underwood, Jeg. There's no Jeg anything. It's just Jeg. Troy Coughlin Jr., Bo and Randy Lynn, all these, guys and girls that we know and like, and they're bracket racing and doing a great job. Great stuff. Matt Daddis wins the final day. Saw Matt in the Total Seal booth, right? The Rabbit, Kevin Brandon. I got it all written down here. This isn't off the top of my head. Corey Galitti. Amazing stuff. Folk with the Cavalier first day. I didn't watch every minute of every day, but I watched it all. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the thought that I'm thinking. Man, the guys at Bradenton Motorsports Park have really done something. They've invested in their track. They're making it better. And then following their social media, I see that they're having issues with their local city commission as well. And they went to a commission meeting, and they're trying to stop 3,500 homes and maybe another 2,000 homes on top of that from being built right around the racetrack. And so they're dealing with it too. And if you look at the map, it's the Tampa Bay area. And so there's water everywhere. And this racing facility is not that far from the water. It's like, I don't want to call it beachfront property because that's not true, but it's definitely in the close proximity to the Gulf Coast. And that made me feel very insecure about their future. We failed on the East Coast to stop them from selling Palm Beach International Raceway. We stopped the sale, but they're going to turn it into warehouses no matter what, because that's what they want to do. When you get 5,000 homeowners around there, it's going to be tough. So what does that mean? People have got to get involved and get invested right now. Like, they got to start fighting right now. And I'll lend my credibility to that in a second. Now, what does that mean? I don't know. Partner with the local community to retain the racetrack as best as you can, but it's going to be tough. And when we first went to war for Palm Beach International Raceway, there were so many people who told me, you can't win. You'll never win. Don't even try. And we tried, and we went up and we stopped the sale and we stopped the warehouses for the short term. And then the owner said, well, we're not reopening the racetrack. So, the heck with you. And that's what the status of where it is right now. Folks in Bradenton, if you care about that track, get involved somehow, some way. Get involved. Do something peaceful, of course. The idea that, let's call it sprawl, right? Urban sprawl, suburban sprawl, houses and homes and warehouses are encroaching on all these great racetracks. South of Gainesville, what racing facility would you deem to be secure, with a secure future? And that is what frightens me. I can tell you, when we lost Miami Hollywood Speedway, you lost a huge connection to the Miami market. That was in 1992. That extra hour and a half drive, a lot of racers went to street racing. They bought boats. They found new hobbies. Shops closed. Terrible. When Palm Beach closed, even more so. People want to race. They're moving north. They're leaving Paradise. Can't race. The idea, and Orlando, Ozzie in Orlando feels pretty secure, but the homes are getting closer there. Now in Bradenton, home, they want to build 3,500 homes nearby. People got to motivate. What does that mean? I don't know. The people in the local community, like, you guys got to get in touch with the folks at the track and ask them what is the best way to help them. I can't say that from here on the East Coast of the state, but I can tell you this: when you lose your facility, it changes your life for the worse. You lose your network, you lose your connections, you lose your shops, you lose your machinists, you lose your race engine builders, your chassis builders. You know, we've never recovered here from losing Miami Hollywood Speedway. Never recovered. Used to be driving around the street, you'd see NHRA stickers everywhere, drag racers everywhere, part of the community. And when the track goes away, a lot of that goes away. Now, I have decided to stay here because I'm not leaving Paradise and the falling iguanas. But that's a choice we all make. Some people would move. They would move to someplace where there's a racetrack. But this is becoming a problem. Everybody wants to move to Florida right now. Everybody's like, oh, yeah, isn't it great that everybody wants to move to Florida? Yeah, not great. Because that means racetracks are closing. Crazy stuff. Do I like ice cream? You know what? I even think there's some communists that like ice cream. They just got to wait in line for it. It's just a joke, guys. Don't get mad. Don't get mad. Let's see. Oh, I missed some comments here. Are you going FTI in your poncho? Eventually. I need an engine first, but yes, I've already spoken with the people that matter. Troy Williams and the folks up there at FTI, and of course, Paul, they're all on board with it. Earl Nichols, our newest Patreon. Are you still coming for drinks Christmas Eve? Where at? Up there, wherever you're from, Earl? Is it Pennsylvania? Aaron Judge is going to be the new captain. Yeah, that's a fact. He better be. Stick and ball, go away, leaves more time for drag race. Yeah, you know, like, I've got room for lots of different entertainment in my life. No one thing for me. Everything. That's what the all direction drive is about. Everything all at once. I get it, Joe, and that money subject could be a days-long podcast, buddy. Yeah, isn't it the truth? Thanks, Joe. See you tomorrow. Blake, see you at the holiday party. Why do they send us so many ARP applications when we're nowhere near retired? Says Pickle Rick. The answer is, I don't know, but as soon as I can, I'm going to take advantage of the discounts. The second I can get in on that deal, man, I'm going AARP all the way. What are you talking about? You're going to send me a discount? I'm going to be the guy that walks up to the counter and be like, AARP, please. It's like, how old are you? Old enough. Yeah, I've been down there from New Hampshire, but I'm going down for the World Series of Pro Mod. Oh, look, Mike is going to travel to the World Series of Pro Mod. Super exciting. Going to have Wes on the show in the coming year after the new year. We're going to ramp up our hype machine for the World Series of Pro Mod. Very excited about that race over there in Bradenton. Captain Dave grew up at Bradenton Motorsports Park, then DeSoto. I used to weed eat the metal guardrails before the snowbirds. Way to go, Captain Dave. I went over there a couple of times when, Troy and Gary Williams' parents ran the facility. And we would drive over from Moroso Motorsports Park racing on Saturday night, and they would maybe have a Sunday race twice in the same weekend. It was always an adventure going over there. Convoy of racers. We got to have a facility in Florida. We have to. That's within reason. And a 5-hour drive to Gainesville, that's unreasonable. 5 hours. It's unreasonable. Depending on what you want to do. You know, for a national event or divisional event, that's a different story. But for me to go bracket racing, that's why we're doing Super Street with the Firebird, because a couple times a year Make the new home buyer sign a document that states that they understand they are purchasing a home within earshot of the racetrack. If you don't want to hear or see it, don't purchase a home near the racetrack. Yeah, I love that idea, Jeff. Convince the realtors to do that, right? Let me tell you how the realtors do it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that racetrack, they've already, it's going away. They got rid of it. Yeah. No, it's, they won't even be there when your house opens. Oh, what? Sorry. Liars. That will never happen. No, it will never happen. Aaron says, happy holidays. Holiday party tomorrow, guys. Total Seal at 3:00 and then us at like 4:30. Thanks, show. Good show. ARP is definitely worth the yearly membership. Thank you, Jim Essex. Exactly. The second I can get in there, man, I'm going to be getting the discounts. I'm going to be the guy getting the discounts. People will be questioning my age. It'll be just like when I was 20 years old trying to buy alcohol. They're like, are you sure? Showing me the ID. Let me see your ID. Except it'll be for discounts. The realtors are lying in Denver. When you get older, you gain experience. And this is an experience, unfortunately, that we've all had too many times. They're going to lie about the track. People are going to buy the houses. They're going to hear noises. They're going to be, what's up with the noises? And they're going to try to close the track. It's just the way it works. And the realtors, they're going to add to it by telling the people, oh, yeah, the track is going to close. I don't know how to fight it, but what I would do is I would get in touch with the people at Bradenton Motorsports Park, follow them on social media, and reach out and ask, how can I be helpful? Happy holidays to the number one party DJ in the biz, J-Lo. Oh, J-Lo getting a little love. He'll be joining us tomorrow, as will Courtney Enders, who will be joining us tomorrow. And I've got tentative yeses from Elon. Elon is going to come. Elon Werner is going to be on, kind of a behind-the-scenes player, but going to join us. And Brian Loans says he's going to join us. And Jason Galvin going to pop in, and Amanda and Alan and Josh Hart and Justin Ashley and a couple others have all given tentative. They'll be here. And so we'll see how it goes. Maybe it'll be just you and I. All right, guys, that's going to do it. Hey, remember, WFO merch available. WFO merch in the WFO store. Go to the website. All kinds of great stuff. Get in on that. The WFO merch. And big thanks to our sponsors as we get ready for the holiday season. The final shows before we go best of. It is going to be great. Thanks to Camrie Caruso for joining us on the show. Congrats on Rookie of the Year. KB Titan. Congrats to those guys as well. WFO.